Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a practice hand stick. You can also, when you're carving characters, you can either carve the head separately and insert it into the body, and also the hands if you're going to be able to have him to hold something or have her to hold something. And so today we are going to show you from a 1 inch by 1 inch stick of wood here. And I've already cut it out on the bandsaw, and I'll put it up here in the camera to where you can see. And we just give it a basic cut here on the bandsaw for us, a layout, and not very complicated looking, but we're going to dive off into this and see if we can get a hand to come out of this stick of wood and to use it for your future projects. So this will be an interesting little project to do for you to practice hands. So first thing we're going to do is start downsizing our hand here. Now I gave myself a little extra room to hold the piece with, and so remember, you got one in front of you, an example, you know. So we're doing basically a left hand today, and so we're going to come in here and we're going to separate the thumb here a little bit, and again we cut this out with the grain going long ways. And again, we're going to exaggerate the features here. And so this is going to, all of this in here is going to be waste. And so we're going to take this here and start removing a lot of this out of here. I probably should have done this before we went on the camera, but anyway, this will kind of give you an idea how to remove it. Now again, we're using a kind of we cut it out. It's kind of thin, so be careful here. I should have done it on probably a larger piece, thicker piece, but we're going to see how we get along today on this. And so we're just removing this waste where the palm would be. We're working our way down to the palm of the hand. And using our pushing cut with our thumb. Again, when you're working with a smaller piece, always be aware that your fingers are on the other side of that piece of wood that your knife is trying to cut through. All right. And so the hand is a wonderful thing that we all use every day, and that we don't think much of it. And we use it for, and it turns and twists and maneuvers and gets into tight places. You know, I think of a mechanic a lot of times, and even children's hands, they can get into smaller places than we can at times. And so we're just going to basically, what we're going to call this, blocking the hand out to get it to basic shape. And of course, now I'm going to take my pencil here and just draw kind of a guideline. This would be where the wrist would be, and this would be the part that you would stick up into the part of the arm if you were going to have him to hold something or have her to hold something. So again, take your time through here. Don't get in a hurry. This is a practice stick for a hand, and we'll try to have a description of this in the video, for you to be able to print off later on. All right, we're going to get rid of any of the sharp edges here. Now here in just a few minutes, we're going to lay out the actual fingers for this hand. Again, you could cut this out with a coping saw if you don't have a bandsaw, but you know, bandsaws are very handy to have to cut the way of the waste, and it saves you a lot of time, especially if you do a lot of carving like I do, production carving, trying to get pieces out to sell or whatever. Bandsaw is a mighty wonderful tool to have. You can get them in different sizes, from bench top, tabletop, up to where they'll stand on their own, floor models. Okay, so we can kind of see here we're getting the palm and the fingers. Now I leave everything thick. Remember, character carving is about exaggerating things, so everything's going to have to be larger, and always keep that in mind. Now again, we're not doing a realistic hand, we're just doing a character hand. And so, but study the hand. It's interesting, and all the things that it can do, and every digit that we have is for a purpose. All right, now I want to show you here, when you're doing hands, you need to put 3 lines, not 4 lines, to represent the fingers. So I always start right in the center, like this blue line here with my pencil. That's 1, and here's the 2nd line, and here's the 3rd line. Doesn't matter where you start as long as you get 3. So 3 lines. Don't put 4 in, because you'll give your fingers 5 fingers. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And so remember that. Now here, right about here where the knuckles are going to come, we want to draw a line here, because later on we're going to soften all this in here, and because this is going to be the part of where the back of the hand goes to the wrist area. And now this hand here, the thumb would normally lay up against it if he was relaxed, but this here, he's going to be holding something, you know, whatever you want to put in it. So that's what I cut it out. Why I cut this out for is where he can hold something. All right, so now let's come in here with our V tool. This is a 1/8 V, number 3, and let's separate these fingers here. And again, no matter what tool you're using, always watch where that's going. Always pay attention. And don't go any deeper than what your tool's made for, because that has have a tendency to hurt yourself or to damage the tool. And I'd rather be carving than sharpening. So, and again, when you're working with the end grain, you're going to be careful here, because it could snap. And also to take your time through here, because your tool is going up against that end grain of your hand there, or of the fingers. And it might be a little bit difficult. All right. Now you say, well, Van, you're going way too far in there with your V tool. That's all right. I just want you to see how you need 4 fingers by just drawing 3 lines in when you're doing that. All right. So now we're not going to separate the fingers because he's holding something. And so we're going to come in here now. We're going to start shaping the fingers. And I'm making a stop cut to divide each of these fingers. And then we're just going to come in here and start removing the fatness in between each finger. And you know, if your carving is going to be pretty small, I wouldn't worry about trying to put fingernails placement in. But now this one here, we may, since it's pretty good size, we'll see. We'll try to put some fingernail placements in. And again, the more detail you can add to your carving, the more it's going to look real. All right, so we kind of have a dividing line there now. So let's start removing the bandsaw marks. And you may have to come in and revisit your lines here, and because you're taking away with your knife. And now we're going to start coming across here, and we're going to just come right across here. This is going to be the ends of the fingers where your fingernails would be, or at least we hope to be. And again, taking your time in here. You're not on a race. It is a journey. And now sometimes, again, remember there's no wood on this side or this side. And so whenever you're cutting, remember you're putting pressure in there. The wood could give away. You never know. So just take your time through here. All right, so let's come in here and get rid of the bandsaw marks here on the back of the hand. See, I left this extra length here for me to hold on to, but also too, that will be where you'll be whittling it down to put it inside the arm of your character. And that's how they do a lot of those characters, that gives them that certain look or certain tilt of the head or the tilt of the hand. They carve the hand separately and add it to the body later on. Because always when I started carving, I thought, wow, how in the world did they get that, you know? But anyway, that's how they do that. Now some carver, they can carve it all the way through, and it doesn't even look like they've added anything to it. Now we're coming in here, and we're making these cuts, and I'm going to switch here to a gouge and start removing the bandsaw marks in here. Now again, I would try, you know, to practice different styles of structures of the hand, where it's closed, do a fist, do a palm that's laid open like this here, like he's getting ready to receive something. This could be a hobo, you know, his hand out for something, you know, or whatever you want it to be. But practice different hands, you know, shapes. And you got a perfect model on either side of you. Okay, now I'm going to come in here and make stop cuts in between here. Show some division in here. And taking and removing. We're creating shadows in here. Again, watch that thumb that you don't bump it and break it off. Got to work around that thumb because it's not going to move. So can't bend it back. Again, just take your time taking small cuts. Remember, take 3 small cuts, then 1 large cut. Leave the palm area very thick in here, okay? Because if you'll notice, I'm going to take my hand or glove off, not my hand. But you'll notice here that we have this line here, and it's kind of like a valley that runs through here, and it kind of goes up. So leave this pretty meaty in here and this meaty in here, all right? So when you're doing that. So again, just always try to study your project that you're getting ready to do. Now I'm taking some cuts here to raise this area up a little bit, because we're going to put in the knuckle area here, and we'll show you how we put those creases in and things like that there. Now right in here is going to be with the bend of the hand, and so we'll just come in here and put those little divots that we have here in our hand, all right? And you say, man, that's pretty deep. Again, folks, we're exaggerating things. We want that distinction in here. And so, and I'm going to come in here and use this little tool right here, the little number 2 flat gouge, and get rid of that surface there. And again, you know, hands are not, this is going to be a man's hand, so it's going to be kind of rough. He's been out working, you know, maybe fixing fence, and whatever it may be. All right. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay. All right, let's see here. Now we want to kind of clean this up in here. And again, we're removing the fattiness in here. All right, so again, we had this line in my hand, at least the way my hand lays. And so we want to keep that in mind. So we're going to leave that pretty thick in there. Now he's like this here, so our thumb, this side of the thumb, is going to be laying over a little bit. Again, we're going to work on this thumb. Get rid of all the bandsaw cutout marks. And turning it where it looks like it's laying on its side. Again, I'm going to show you what we're trying to do here. All right, so he's kind of got it up like this here. So our thumbnail is going to be on this side. A lot to think about when you're carving the human body. Now I'm still learning and I'm still struggling in areas, and you will too, but again, main thing is don't quit, keep at it. And again, as I've said in different videos, get out of your comfort zone. And you never know. Step off in there and you think, this was a lot of fun. I should have done this a lot sooner. But again, this is just a piece of scrap. This is a 1x1. Okay, so now we're going to have to think about the different lengths of each finger, okay, here in just a little bit. So that's important. All right, and I'm sorry I have to turn this so much, but it's a small piece and I want to be able to get good control. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of put just a small V cut in there just to show that line that runs through my hand there. Now there are some people who, like in carnivals and things, they will have their palms red. Well, I'm not too big into all that, but a lot of people think it's a lot of fun to do that, but I just want to use my hands to eat with most of the time. All right, so let's stop here for a second and kind of give it a look here at the camera. We're going to turn him a little bit here. That way you can see what's going on. And it's still kind of blocky, but that's all right. We're getting there. Okay, so now let's stop and look at our hand. And of course, our little finger, ring finger, middle finger, and our pointed finger. And so we're going to come in here and we're going to drop this one down a little bit. The ring finger, and we'll leave the middle finger the highest one. So now if you hold it straight out, at least on mine, this one here, the pointing finger, is just a little bit longer than the ring finger, even when I stretch it out. So this little finger comes to the first little digit right here that we have where the bend is. All right, so that might help you there. So let's put our glove back on. Let's remove, again, start out small, working your way down, cutting little by little. We're almost there. Okay, it's a little thick, that's all right. We'll dress it down. Okay, so this one here, the ring finger, will go down some, not quite as much. Now again, make sure that you are putting your thumb not right here, because when you're pushing, you could break off the thumb. So remember always your hand placement, and take off little cuts. All right. All right, so let's come this way now for the index finger. Take it, make a stop cut in there. So show some division a little bit here, little shadows, things like that there. Okay. This takes a little while, so you can't be in a marathon with this. And then, of course, I know I'm taking it off, but then our thumb bends a little bit. And so right in here, we want to put a little indication that there is a slight bend in the thumb right in here. Yeah, that helped it. And all right. So we're just about ready to put in the final features of it. Now again, on this side here, that would all be removed. And this part of the hand would be the one to be fit up into the forearm. And that way you could turn it either way or whatever you want to do. And again, it takes a lot of practice in creating these little additions. And if you look at some of the Character Carvers of America books, you know, you will see those guys there. They've been doing this a long time, and you'll see how they do these things also, and how they get the different moves and looks on their features. All right. All right, we're going to soften things up here a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take a U-gouge, and we're going to come in here, and you'll notice that we have these little divots right here. When your hand is like that, you can still see little places in the hand there. Just give it a nice little cut right in here. All right. And then also you can take your V-tool, and you'll see that some of these little lines will come in and come this way and that way. So just put a few of those in, you know, and just every so often, and just helps breaks the hand up. And you know, so I'm gonna create just a little bit of a get back here, a little hump there, as you can see. And so we're going to let's just show you how we put a fingernail on. Let's just show it on this finger right here. Now we're going to use small V here, and again, now look how your fingers are shaped. It's kind of like a U, or the fingernail is shaped there. And so we're just going to come in, and again, you're just creating this just if you have room to do it. All right, see there? And then at the knuckles, you'll come in and break these up and show where the knuckles bend at, these little creases that we all have. And you know, you can just come in here and make them as big as you want or as small as you want, the fingernails. And again, it just adds to it. I've seen some carvers where they've actually carved and put that little space in between there. So that's, help yourself there if you'd like. But that's pretty challenging. I'm afraid I'd break something off. But anyway, again, you never know till you try. But you know what? I'm kind of liking the looks of this. And don't worry about it if it don't turn out the way you think. And then, of course, down through here, we're going to put some, you know, some of these little muscle areas that comes in and out, and you know, break that hand up, you know, and things like that there. All right, and let's see, let's put a few more right in there. And we got some right there. We got wrinkles everywhere. Little divots and things like that there. All right, now let's come over here and let's do the thumb. And again, it's going to be on its side, the thumbnail is. And so just go right up the side there. All right, there you go. Soften that just a little bit. All right, so I think right about there, folks, is going to be good for right now. And but again, just get in here and try your best and have fun. And I hope this has been an encouragement to you. And we'll have the pattern for you in the video description. At the end of the video, you can print one off if you'd like. And again, try different shapes and sizes and turns and twists on your hand, and add these to your character piece. And so again, thank you for joining us today, and happy carving. We'll see you real soon.